who sending me articles about how Texas and Florida are stealing everybody who has money from.
You know, feeling coming in, they're taking up for this, taking them, get in the trunk, that guy in the trunk.
Oh, he didn't see it.
Tennessee too.
Okay, we are all set. Okay, I'm Heather McDaniel, Director of I'm the Administrative Director at the Tompkins County IDA, and I will conduct today's public hearing. We will record the minutes of the hearing. IDA board members present are Rich John. Thanks for joining us in person today. This hearing is being held pursuant to a public notice published in accordance with Article 18A of the General Municipal Law in the Ithaca Journal on Saturday, June 24, 2023. The purpose of this hearing is to afford the general public an opportunity to make statements and comments on the request by 602 West Buffalo QOZB LLC for financial assistance from the Tompkins County IDA. The project consists of the acquisition of approximately 0.57 acres of property located at 602 West Buffalo Street, City of Ithaca, Tompkins County, New York, the demolition of the existing building and construction of a 5-story multi-tenanted mixed-use redevelopment project that will include approximately 80 residential apartment units, approximately 2,100 square feet of commercial space, structured parking improvements, providing for approximately 26 parking spaces and additional tenant amenities. The financial assistance contemplated by the IDA will consist generally of exemption from property taxes that will be offset in part by contractual payments in lieu of taxes by the company for the benefit of the affected taxing jurisdictions, exemption from the state share of the mortgage recording tax, and exemption from local and state sales and use tax. Comments presented at this hearing will be taken into consideration by the Tompkins County IDA as part of its consideration of the application. The hearing will remain open until all submitted comments and members of the public who are present at the hearing have been given an opportunity to make statements or comments on the application. So if you wish to speak at the hearing, please sign in at the speakers list. Speakers will have 3 minutes to provide comment. I will ask each speaker to sit at the table so the microphone can pick up the sound. Please state your name and address. If you are appearing as a representative of an organization or governmental entity, please identify the organization or entity and state its address. If you wish to submit a copy of your comments for the record, you may hand them to me. And finally, I would just want to remind you that the purpose of this hearing is really to afford you an opportunity to make comments about the request for financial incentives from the Tompkins County IDA. So I did receive one set of written comments, which I will go ahead and read first, and then I'll call from the speakers list. I have Peter Wissaker, 705 North Tioga Street, Ithaca. Comments for 602 West Buffalo QOZB LLC public hearing. 1, given that the project agreement, the lease agreement, the leaseback agreement, the tax agreement, and related documents are being negotiated and will be presented to the agency for execution upon approval of this resolution, page 3 of the authorizing resolution, how can you give even initial approval ahead of time without knowing what the agreement will look like? Please don't. 2, please stop providing tax breaks to market rate apartments. In this case, you are talking about foregoing nearly $1 million in taxes in the first 2 years and nearly $1.8 million in the first 4. It seems well within the realm of possibility that over those 4 years, someone else might come along to build on the same spot, perhaps even the current property owner, without asking the IDA to support the project. Let's take that risk. 3, if you go ahead and fund the project, I'd ask the following. Once it's completed, all jobs associated with the project should pay a living wage. The agency should require that all workers who are attached to the project through VISM, the LLC, or the services either hires to do work, such as janitorial services, security, etc., should be guaranteed a living wage. Prevailing wage / apprenticeship should be attended to. The agency should require that the developer use a contractor who pays the prevailing wage, as well as contractors who have an apprenticeship program. The developer should work with the contractor to meet these conditions. Sale contingency part 1, terminate the tax breaks if the citizen is sold. Please write the agreement with the application in a way that ensures the tax breaks are not conveyed with the sale of the project, even if the owner or the new buyer asks you to do so. Sale contingency part 2, TCIDA/taxing entities should profit from the project sale. If the applicant resells the citizen, the state, city, county, and schools should be repaid for any taxes they have foregone plus interest. Ensure that the contractor purchased supplies locally. Where the contractor for this project is based remains unknown. Please build in language that forces the contractor to attempt to secure materials for the project using local suppliers within the county first. This means local firms, not national firms like Home Depot, should be given a chance to speak with their suppliers and the opportunity to bid on supplying the job. It is likely necessary to see what kind of price matching scheme would make this possible without making the cost of the building prohibitively high, but the effort should be made. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and call from the speakers list. I'm assuming Teresa Alt is first. Okay.
I'm Teresa Alt of 206 Eddy Street in the city of Ithaca. The citizen on the site of the former Joe's Restaurant at 602 West Buffalo Street is not the kind of housing that the city of Ithaca needs. From Heather McDaniel's memo about financial need of the project, I teased out what the rents are likely to be. A very small one-bedroom apartment of about 600 square feet would probably rent for about $1,758 a month. It would take an annual income of $70,320 to afford that. My calculations are a little over precise, but I didn't want to, edit to a lot of zeros. What kinds of jobs are there in the city of Ithaca? Well, a beginning secretary, administrative assistant 2 at Cornell, I think that's what I once was, might make $20 an hour these days, or about $40,000 a year. I looked at the city of Ithaca's CSEA administrative unit pay scales. Only a few of the most skilled, top paid positions in the unit could afford one of those one-bedroom apartments. So the citizen is market rate housing, the kind we don't need more and more of. That $5,500 per unit fee to the Tompkins County Community Housing Development Fund won't be paid for several years. So it will be quite a few years before the fund can be used to attract state or federal money to build affordable units, and those units can actually be built if there's any land left in the city. I noticed in the community benefits overview that over the next 10 years, the amount of abated taxes will somewhat exceed the amount of actually paid new taxes. We don't need more gentrification in the West End. What we need is housing that the people who work in the city can afford. I'm talking about all those clerical workers and retail clerks and wait persons and hotel cleaners. When people are forced to drive to work, that's very bad for the planet.
Okay, thanks, Teresa. Mike Sigler.
Hi. So my name is Mike Sigler. I live at 218 Peruville Road in Peruville, New York. And I'm just here as a private citizen. I'm also on the county legislature, but that's not really important. It's not really here or there. I'm actually here to ask a favor. So Visium is one of the larger developers in the community. And this is not a slam to Visium whatsoever. This is more of just, I'm driving around and I'm looking at all the buildings going up. And there seems to be now a sameness to everything that I see in Ithaca. And it really has become a bit of a canyon, which that's okay too. I mean, we have to go up if we're gonna build housing, and I understand that. But I don't want to get into a situation like in the Brady Bunch movie where, you know, Mike Brady built this house and that's the design he has. And then the gas station he's building looks exactly like that house, and the restaurant looks exactly like that house, and it's all very same. And again, this isn't directed toward any particular developer. It's just when you have a bunch of developers and they're all developing at the same time, and every building's kind of looking very similar. It's this box-like structure. And you're wondering, well, can't we get something that maybe looks a little different? Maybe, I don't know how you do that. I'm not an architect, obviously. But I mean, I look at where this site is. Joe's Restaurant's been there for decades. I don't think there's anybody in town that hasn't eaten there. And it's sad to see it go. People understand progress. They understand that that building is going to get knocked down. It's no longer suitable for the needs of the community. But if there's some way to kind of recognize that, and I see certain developers kind of do that. I see the Ironworks building on State Street. You know, we can debate whether they should have gotten an abatement or not, and that's fine. But when you look at the final product of the building, there's no doubt that you go, wow, they really did retain something. That building has character and it looks different than everything else I see. And I'm hoping that the developers will do that in Ithaca. You know, for a city that kind of prides itself on its quirkiness, I think you lose some of that. And is that the responsibility of the city council? Yes, I think it is. Is it the responsibility of the planning department? Yes, I think it is. However, I don't really see that getting done. So this is why I'm saying this is more of a favor I'm asking of the developers as opposed to you need to do this. No, you don't need to do anything. You need to build a safe building that has a lot of housing that will make a profit for you and house people. I get all that. But I do hope that, you know, maybe developers will look at some of the other buildings that have been built nearby and say, yeah, we don't really want to look the same as that other building. So that's all. That's like I said, a favor, not if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, then it'll just keep going the way it's going. And that'll have to be okay with the citizens of Ithaca, I guess. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak today? Okay. The time is 11:14. I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Thank you so much.